I'm live, I think. Did it work? It did. Camera? This is my second attempt. Okay. It says there's 7 people here. Someone say something in the chat. Okay, yo. All right. I haven't done a live stream in a really long time. And this took way too long to set up. I mean, you're early in that it's happening right now. I saw Paul did a live stream yesterday, and I realized that I haven't done one in like a year. So let's do it. Just an impromptu. I decided that I want to try the Wreckoning in the extra low position. And if you haven't watched my videos, my toe is broken right now, so I haven't been riding. So this is kind of like, what else are you going to do on a Sunday? And this will probably take, well, it's supposed to take 15 minutes, but it's probably going to take me longer than that. All right, I'll try and answer the chat while also doing this to the bike. I've never switched it to the extra low position before. So maybe I can read the chat on my phone at the same time. How do I do that? Oh, okay, I can do that right here. Oh, let's, oh no, let go. Okay, here we go. All right. So, in the regular position, this head tube angle is 64.5, which is pretty slack already. But I think this bike will be interesting in the extra low. I have noticed that a lot of people leave it in the normal position and they don't do the extra low. What are my thoughts on clamping droppers? Well, I've already done it, so I think that answers your question. I've always just clamped the dropper. I don't think it ever, like, as long as it's clean and you're not rubbing dirt against it, then it should be all right. I think the best mountain bike under $2,500 is Apple. I don't know. They're all pretty good. Depends what you want. I think I can take out one side at a time, flip this chip, and then flip the other side. And hopefully this doesn't just all fall apart. Let's see here. Should go get my proper Allen keys, but can't be bothered. It's a 4 mil. Nope, 5 mil. Okay. I think I'm going to take out. Okay, let's try taking this out first. Oh, yep, okay. What's happening? This thing has so many bolts in the linkage. It's 5 bolts on each side to do this flip chip, which is a bit excessive. All right. Do I think 661 helmets are good? I don't know. I've never used one, so. Ooh, oh wow, this one's unusually tight. Okay. Okay. Slowly it's happening. Oh yeah, so I don't know if I said. So in the extra low position, the head tube angle is 63.5. No, that's too slack. 63.9. Starts at 64.5 in the low, goes to 63.9 in the extra low with 170 mil form. Okay. Doing something for the first time is always a little, you never know what's going to happen. I also, this is my first time using my good camera to actually stream. So hopefully it looks better and it's worth it. How many bikes do I have? Can I show them to you? Well, I'm kind of cleaning up the house right now. I don't know. Let's show you the bikes. I got my ones. I still have the Enduro. There it is right there. Whoop. There's the old Enduro. And that one is waiting to be warrantied. So that's why I still have it. I will sell it when I get the new frame, but for now it just sits and it waits. Which is better, this or the Capra? I mean, there's not really better bikes. It just depends what you want to do, or how you ride, or where you ride. There's literally so many variables, and there's not really any bad bikes anymore. Well, I mean there are, but like not from any real brand. What happened to the Enduro? I think it just has a crack in it in the frame where the seat tube meets the top tube. I got it checked out at Specialized. They said it was a crack, or at least they approved the warranty. So yeah, I figured it must be a crack. I didn't know. I just got it checked out, and they said they just approved it. So I figured either it's cracked there before, or they've seen it. So that's that. Would I have gotten a Capra Blazer this? I don't know. Are you asking me or someone in the chat? I mean, obviously I would have got the Wreckoning, or else I would have just got the Capra Blaze. I mean, I pretty much could have just got whatever bike I wanted. Oh, wow. That was in there. Okay, nothing is falling apart. Although I think this comes off. Does it come off? I think so. Here it comes. There's the last bolt on this side. And it stinks. I have a Fox Pro frame for the person asking if they're good. They're pretty good. I mean, no complaints. I should probably clean this while it's off. Yeah, why is this? It kind of stinks. It's pretty dirty in there already. These, this is one way. I think so. So let's not forget how this goes back together. We'll take this out, I think. How is this still being held in? No. Do I have to take the shock off? That would be annoying. Oh, let me get this out of here. It's the shocks. There's like, all the bolts are off, but the air can of the shock is so big it barely fits in there. And there's like little bumps on the chip that are stopping it from coming out. That would be annoying. I don't want to. Do I have to take the shock out? The camera closer. All right, let's just zoom in. Zoom. Oh, zoom. Or why don't we just straight up put it closer? Right. Oh. There we go. Now you can't really see over my chair. Oh. This is delicate. I've got this all balanced. All sorts of stuff. All right. So let's see if you can see. You probably can't see, but here's the flip chip here. Everything is undone, but it's stuck in there. Well, it's not stuck. The air can of the shock is too big. It's not too big. Too big for me to take out. You know what I mean. I don't know. What do I do here? Do I just give up? I really don't want to take the shock out. It's the easiest way to get this out. Let's see. Could take these bolts out of the top of the shock. And then I think that would allow me to push that up and out of the way. That's really annoying though. Why not air down the shock? Would that work? Oh yeah. What's more annoying, pumping up the shock or undoing this bolt? Okay, let's let the air on the shock. If that doesn't work, you guys are in trouble. I'm listening to the people on this one. Okay. So I do have, someone is letting me borrow coil to try on this thing too. And I'll do a video about that. Probably I'm going to put the coil on and I'll have it slacker at the same time. I'll do a video about just both. It's a RockShox coil. I think if I bought a coil, I would just buy a Fox DHX2. I like how many more adjustments it has. Although I've never ridden the RockShox coil, so maybe it's good. I don't want that one, but here we go. Come on. Come on. Oh, this is hard. Okay, smaller Allen key. And letting the air out of the shock is. Oh. Oh, yeah. Oh. Did it work? Oh, so close. Oh, hey. There you go. Okay. Wow, these are really dirty. How do I should have thought about this beforehand. Wow. Yeah, that's the one thing about the Wreckoning that kind of made me nervous is like there's so many links and bearings and bushings, and there's a lot of dirt in here already, and I've only ridden it for like a month. Where do I keep my rags? I'm washing all my rags at the moment. So, okay, let's see here. So this is the flip chip. It says low on one side, extra low on the other. So basically it was this way, and then you flip it upside down, put it back in the bike, and then you're in extra low. But, all right, let me find a rag. Let me find the rag and clean this up. So rag back here. Yeah, that'll do. Hide my shame closet. Yeah, let me show you how dirty these are from, I mean, I rode in the rain. Like I rode in full on like the grossest conditions. So it was to be expected that it would be this dirty, but yeah, it's like a month of riding or so. 2 months of riding? Anyways, it's pretty dirty. Yeah, I should probably clean it. Oh yeah, so I guess I could just keep mentioning this for people who are showing up. So the head angle in the low position is, can't see me. The head angle in the low position is 64.5 with a 170 mil fork, which I have. And the head tube angle in the extra low position is 63.9. And that sounds kind of neat. So I'm going to try it out. Wish it was a little easier to do. Like the Enduro has just like this asymmetrical chip for the shock mount. You just flip it back and forth. It's literally one bolt. Although on the Enduro, it's in the most awkward position imaginable. So although the actual flipping of the chip is really easy, the getting to it and actually flipping it is kind of annoying. So, what do I do for a living? I'm a graduate student in engineering at Simon Fraser University here in Vancouver. So I do that. I get paid a little bit to do that, and then I'm a teaching assistant usually to help out with that, and work at a company kind of helping them do some engineering. So, and then YouTube. Do you think a Wreckoning? Well, they have their 27.5-inch bike. The Insurgent? Is that what Evol's bike is? I'm sure they're coming up with a new one at some point, but just I think 29ers are so popular, they're going through those first, which makes sense. And then I should probably make this wet, shouldn't I? Water anywhere? Yeah, let me get some water. we're getting water somewhere. I'm just going to pour it over this jug. Onto my rag. But, oh, here we go. Come on, rag. Yeah, I'm pretty sold on 29ers, so. Although I wouldn't say like totally, though. I have a 27-inch downhill bike still, so I would ride that. I mean, I still do ride that, especially in the park. How much time do I spend in grad school? Like, depends. Like, since this last year, it's been all work from home. Like, the line between work and home is pretty blurred. I'd say I'm technically always working, or technically never working. But I go into the office. It's not really an office, but I go into this work at this company a few times a week. And then, so like pretty much I try to treat it like a regular job, but then I do, like, I'll have to read and stuff at night too for grad school. Like, I'll read papers and things like that. And then on YouTube, it really depends on the video. So like a riding video, it'll take the day to film. And then it'll usually take quite a while to edit. Like, I'll probably do it over 2 days in like 2 to 4 hour chunks, depending on how I'm feeling. It is tricky though. It feels it just feels like a lot of work sometimes, but I like doing it, so it's not so bad. Both of my jobs. I like teaching too, so when I'm a teaching assistant, I miss being in the lab though. This summer, again, I'll be all online, and that kind of, it's okay. I'll be marking mostly, but it was nice I prefer being in the lab and teaching the lab sections, which hopefully I can start doing in September again. Dale, I keep my toe mounted on my wall. Okay, the chat is chatting to itself. I've done a backflip onto an airbag, but they're so scary. I think it's better when you can do one like otherwise, like those people who can like backflip on trampolines and like, or backflip, like standing backflips or backflips into water, like those, like if they're comfortable doing backflips on other things and then they bring it to the bike, that seems to help a lot. I have done backflips on trampolines, but I was never really good at it. And then I've done backflips on the airbag. Again, never really got good at it. It was always scary. I was never not scared to do one. Okay, we're almost clean here. Almost clean. There's some sort of like interesting grease that's all dried up on here. But I don't know. Maybe I should grease it again a little bit. You have some grease here. My toe. The toe incident. I was riding and it's just like right, like literally probably the last feature of the ride. Like big ride. I think we rode for like 2.5 hours at that point. And I was pretty tired and there was a decent little rock roll at the end. I must have had my toe kind of like my feet tipped down and there must have been a rock sticking out and I just like crunched my foot onto this rock and I heard like the cracking noise and it felt like a really hard hit. So I knew right then that something was injured. I would like to go to the UK. So for school, usually I would. I was actually going to go to to the UK for a conference that was supposed to be in 2020. It was in the UK. And I would have just brought my bike and like toured around the UK probably for another 2 weeks. But yeah, no one's traveling. Maybe so. Hopefully I get to go to conferences and stuff like over the next couple of years that I finish my grad work. And I'm just going to bring my bike because people just tour around. Like there was one year where they went to Rome, and then people just stayed there. They just like did the conference for the week, and then they just stayed like another 2 weeks for vacation. The guy asking about bolts cutting loose. I actually had my bolts come loose, but that was right when I bought it, and that's pretty normal for a new bike. Anytime you put a new part on or like put things in for the first time, you'll tighten them down. After your first ride, you should check again. I mean, you should check your bolts pretty regularly anyway, but especially if you like, after I do this, I'll go ride, and then when I get home, I'll for sure check my bolts, or I'll check it on the ride even, because they have a habit of coming loose pretty often. Okay, this feels pretty clean. Maybe I'll grab some grease just in case. Seems like they have grease on there. Okay. Why am I going slacker? Why not? That's the real question. Should I zoom in here while I try and get this back in? Why wouldn't you? I mean, it's got the option, and I don't know, I'm still hurt and got nothing too important to do right now, so I figured I'd try it out. Like, there are some pretty steep trails here, and I'm going to hopefully go ride the park with this thing. So, why not? Let's try it slacker. I really like the Enduro. Like, the Enduro in the park, especially with the coil in the slack position, that was a really fun bike in the park. Definitely a good one. So I'll try this in the slacker position, I don't know, just curious. If it could go even slacker, I'd try that too. I mean, I could get an angle set, but yeah, I can't be bothered that much. This is relatively easy. Start getting the angle sets and stuff, yeah, way too lazy for that. So Jordan and I are planning on riding, but I got hurt. I never actually told him that I was hurt, but I'm assuming maybe he knows by now. But yeah, I'm going to ride with Jordan this summer for sure. I think we'll get out for a couple of rides. What's my next bike going to be? You know what bike I really wanted to try and I just couldn't. I haven't really been able to get my hands on it yet. Is the Forbiddens. I wanted to demo a Druid. I got to try Eric from BCBOVs like a little bit, and it was pretty interesting. And I was like, oh, it's interesting. The high pivot is like, it's noticeable. So I'd like to try the Druid, and I'd love to try the Dreadnought. If we could have them for like at least a week to actually ride them, that'd be pretty neat. I'd like that. But next bike. So usually I flip flop too. Like I went from the Enduro, which was a pretty big bike, pretty long, pretty slack. Then I went to this bike, which is more on the nimble side of things, like really short rear end. It's like with the air shock on this compared to the coil on the Enduro, I kind of bobbed around on it. And the Enduro with the coil feels like way plusher. It feels way more downhill bike-ish, where this feels more trail bike. This is like a long travel trail bike, whereas the Enduro is a short travel downhill bike. So I'm going to try this in the slacker position with the coil just to compare so I know. But I think I'm going to have a really short bike this year. Maybe I'll do like a really long trail bike next year. So like the Sight maybe, or like the Forbidden Druid or the Dreadnought even. Although the Dreadnought, even at 150 mil travel bike, the high pivot probably makes it feel quite long. So who knows? Oh, the high pivot. So the high pivot, it moves backwards. Like this is the rear wheel. So this is a single pivot. I don't really know anything about suspension, so take like all of this with a massive grain of salt. When I'm riding this bike and you hit a bump, you can kind of just feel it like goes up. The rear wheel like moves up, which is fine. But on the Druid, it was weird. When you would hit a bump, like you would hit, like imagine riding up a curb, you would feel the rear wheel kind of go like backwards and up. And so it kind of smoothed it out a bit. And that was interesting. Yeah, I think it'd be weird, like popping off stuff would be weird then because like your bike gets longer instead of shorter when you're compressing the suspension. So yeah, I'm curious to know if like I got used to riding a Druid and still if I could still feel it like as poppy because it's quite a short travel bike. So I wonder if the short travelness paired with the high pivot, like which one would win out in how the bike feels as far as like being pretty maneuverable. Hard to say, which is why I want to try them. Okay, I think this is pretty clean. Rear wheel. Oh, there's Eric. There he is. He's the one. That's the bike I got to try. We only tried it for a little bit on one trail. But I have not tried Pink Bike's clip clops. I thought about trying clips. Like I have no desire to try clips. And let's see, how's this go? You have no desire, like I've never been riding and thought like, wow, it should be great if my feet were attached to the pedals right now. And where might Linkage go? But I get why people use them. I've just never, like it just solves a problem I don't have. But one day I'll try them. Scared of getting hurt though. Like I have to be really careful and make sure that you don't get too crazy and get myself into a position where I need to take my foot off really quick, but I'm not used to riding clips, so I don't know how to unclip very fast. That'll get dicey for sure. So Max moving here, moving to Port Moody from Calgary. I mean, yeah, trail forks. That's the best thing for you. Actually, let's look and see if this is. This feels pretty clean. How do I see in here? I should actually just take apart the bike and like properly clean it because it's pretty much summer now, and so I don't think it'll get too. Well, it's pretty grimy in there still. Oh yeah, we got this weird grease keeping all this dirt in here. Yeah, I should probably just take this apart and clean it properly. It's pretty grimy in there. Yeah, so this is, all the linkages. So many. How do I get in here without taking this apart? Maybe it's pretty clean, but I don't love a dirty bike. Makes it crunchy too, like a nice clean feeling bike. Let's see if I shove this in here. I think it's pretty clean, I think. Let's see. Let's stick my phone in here. I mean, it's pretty clean. How do I need like some sort of stick to get up in there. What do I got? Jeez. Yeah, there's like a bit of dirt still like on the back side of where these bolts would sit on the inside of the frame. And I just don't want it to feel all like make a crunchy noise. So I'd like to get the dirt out of there. I need like a brush though. All right, hold on. Get my brush. Get in the brush. Stay. Brush. All right. So, thought I had a different brush, but maybe I don't. I've got this little muck-off brush. But will that get in there? No. I need like one of those super thin brushes you use for cassettes, which I swear I have one somewhere. Do I have one? All right, hold on. Okay, no brush. I got an Allen key, which I think I can just shove in here and kind of make the cloth get up in here. I might just give up on cleaning this totally. It's, like I said, it's pretty clean, but could be cleaner. Okay, you know what? That's clean enough, I think. If it makes a crunchy noise when I'm putting it in, maybe I'll convince myself to clean it more. Or I'll just take the bike apart. I'll do another live stream, and I'll take the bike apart and just fully clean it. This goes in here. I need to let more air out. Oh, no, come on. Oh, there we go. That's the money. Okay, we're in. Let's just get these a little last wipe down. Just make sure no dirt is crunching up in there. Pretty clean enough. And now I think all these bolts are more or less the same. And here we go. Oh, let's maybe hold this while I do this. Yeah, I'll do a full clean in the spring because I gotta take all the bolts and clean them and re-grease everything and put new Loctite on everything. Honestly, the bike's pretty new still, so it's not the end of the world. Okay. There we go. Yeah, it's actually not too bad to switch this flip chip. I mean, 5 bolts is a little excessive, but it's not bad. Do I like the nuke-proof mag? I've never ridden one. I don't think I've actually ever seen one, so I can't even picture what it looks like. This one's got some dirt on it. A little bit. And here we go. And okay, the chip is flipped. All right, someone Google how many Newton meters is 65 inch pounds? Now, this bit. Okay. I think this is more or less symmetric. So is this one. Now, will this just fit in here nice and easy? That's the question. Oop. Oh. Okay, so here's what I thought would happen. Is, I'll have to do the other side more or less at the same time. Okay, so I gotta. I think that's how that goes. Does it matter? Delta system? Which way does the delta system go? Let's look at the other side. Other side. Delta system. So you read it from that way. I don't remember now. I don't think this. They are different. Or no. I think this is symmetric. I don't think it matters which way it goes. It looks to be the same on both sides. But I thought I could do just one side at a time, but I need to do the other side right now too. Because this distance is a little wonky, which makes sense, I think. Doesn't it? I swear I watched a guy on YouTube do this and he did one side at a time. Am I crazy? Am I crazy? Can this go like... How do you... Yeah, okay. All right, I gotta do the other side now. Anyway, no one told me what 65-inch pen. Well, wait. Oh, wait. I haven't torqued them down yet. Let's flip this thing around. We'll just do this. Yep. Good enough. All right. There we go. Still see it, more or less? There it is. Okay, let's do the same thing. Although, so I think I'm going to take this out. I need something to hold up the rear wheel so I can take both sides out. If I just tilt. So I think to get the other side all done up properly and extra low, I need to take this side off so they match. Once I take that off, the rear wheel I think is going to go. So I don't want it to smash the frame or anything like that. So I just need it to have something to sit on. You know what? How about this chair? How about a chair? I saw those magnet pedals, and they do sure look interesting. Like, clip the best, what do you call it? The best of both worlds. Okay, let's see. Take this out of the way, take the chair, put you underneath, more or less. And there, look at that. Perfect. Kinda. I guess I can put my bolts here. torque wrench, and here we go. And we're going slack. Here we go. Okay, that one's pretty easy. That one's all right. All the bolts are still tight, actually, which I'm surprised. I kind of thought some of them would be loose, but they're not. And I should look at the chat. I haven't looked at the chat in a while. All right, let me look at the chat while we're doing this too. Yeah, I think I'm tall enough that I don't really care about like a mullet, and like I've tried mullets and they feel good, but again, I think it solves a problem I don't have. Like especially with the really short rear end on this, like maybe the enduro mulleted would be pretty interesting, but mulleting this bike is not something I thought about. It manuals really well already. It has like it corners really sharp already. Bunny hops really easily. I think maybe a mullet would make it a little too weird. Like maybe I'll try, like if I have the opportunity, but might make an interesting video. But other than that, like it's pretty low on my list of wants. And again, I'm tall. Like I think a lot of people go mullet because they're a little shorter than I am, and they're hitting their butt on the 29, which I've done, but very rare. Like I think 3 times in all of my 29 are riding. The Norco Shore. Yeah, I'd like to try one. I tried to get my hands on one, but just didn't work out. Oh, this one's tight. Okay, here we go. Oh, wow. Okay. So not only are those bolts not coming out, they're very snug. Okay, this one. That one came out easy. Okay, let's try this one again. Maybe like the frame is holding it kind of funny. This. Oh! Wow. That's tight. That was not coming loose. Stinks. So the EWS is canceled in Whistler. So no. I think we're mulling over like something else to get everyone together. Like hopefully by the summer things are relatively normal, and I'm pretty sure the park's going to be open, and things will be like hopefully getting back to normal. And so maybe we'll do something together. But as far as I know, the race and Crankworks are all canceled already. So no. Oh, okay. Here we go. There's one bit. And is this my dream bike? Yeah, pretty much. Like, I don't even know what I would change. Like, maybe I would try Axis stuff, like the wireless, but I don't even know if that'd be better. It debatably is worse. Like you have to care about batteries, and it's a shorter travel dropper. It's heavier. Like, just seems like more work. And all right, let's water my rag again here. Water my rag. Here we go. Yep. Yeah, so this one's pretty dirty too. Pretty greasy, pretty grimy. Let's give this a quick little wipe down. Oh, my stickers. So I gave stickers out to people in person, and then I leave some at Kinetic Cycles in Coquitlam. And then I have them as a perk on Patreon. So for the $5 a month and up tiers on Patreon, I send out stickers along with some other stuff. But yeah, the stickers are surprisingly expensive. So they end up being so I've mailed them out. like last year I did that video with the bike shopping, and I said I would mail out stickers for people who guessed the bike right and stuff like that, and I mailed out a lot of stickers. And it ended up being just so expensive. So each sticker cost me like a little more than $2. And then when you're mailing like 50 sets of stickers, it ends up being like, that's a lot of stamps. Especially I was mailing some to like Turkey and Israel, Australia. Like, yeah, it's like $2 stamp, $3 stamp. That really added up. That probably cost me quite a bit. So anyways, the stickers are a little expensive. So I can't send them just out totally free because it would cost me a ton of money. But yeah, you can find them on Patreon or at the bike shop, or if you see me in person, I usually have some. But yeah. That's a good question. Yeah, I always forget to mention the size of the bike and how tall I am. I'm 6 feet, like without shoes on. I'm like 6 feet right on the dot. And then with shoes on, I'm probably more like 6'1", especially like 5'10s with that big platform. And this bike is a large. I'm right in between a large and extra large in most brands. And I prefer to size down most of the time because most of the trails here are like tighter and more technical. And it's better to be on a bike that's a little too small. It's not too small. A bike that's a little smaller than a bike that's a little bigger, I find. So that's just personal preference stuff. So 6 feet, large. Usually I look for like a 480-ish reach. I think this is 483, 480. I don't even know now. It's around 480 mil reach in the large. That feels pretty good. I've tried like longer reaches and it gets feel a little weird sometimes, but that's pretty much how I look for bikes. I used so when I started riding, I had a dirt jumper. That's how I started biking more or less. I had a Norco 250, and then I bought a BMX, and I BMXed. I still BMX, but I've been BMXing for, how old am I? For 14 years? Nope, 16 years now. And I still ride BMX all the time. I just don't really make BMX videos because people just aren't as interested in BMX, and it's a little harder. Like I mountain bike most of the time now, and so it's harder to make an interesting BMX video when every time I go ride, I'm just like relearning my same tricks that I used to be able to kind of do. So maybe if I get my act together and actually ride BMX like once a week at least for a while, I can put a video together. This bearing feels a little grimy already. It's kind of weird. Yeah, that's just how it is. Kind of weird. It's not very smooth bearing, which is concerning. Yeah, I'm going to try and go to Whistler for opening day. That'll be a month from now. Yeah. I decided to keep my downhill bike. I was going to sell it. I decided to keep it just because, like, if I break this bike, like, if any one little piece just goes wrong, say the derailleur hanger, which I think I have one on order that should be coming. But like if I broke a derailleur hanger on this thing, I think they're pretty hard to get, and then I just wouldn't be able to ride this bike more or less. So I decided to keep the downhill bike because, like, if this bike breaks, I still want to be able to ride mountain bikes, and it's summer, so you can shuttle and go to the park and all sorts of stuff like that. So I kept my downhill bike and I tuned it up a bit. So my shock and fork for the downhill bike are both at Fox right now, getting fixed, and they've been there for a while actually. I should probably check in on that because I'm pretty sure the turnaround was like 14 days. It's been like, it might have been 3 weeks by now. So it should be done, but I should check on that. And then I've got new wheels coming for the downhill bike, which I'm probably pretty sure you can guess what kind of wheels I got for it. I was so annoyed. I've had the same wheels on my downhill bike ever since I bought it 2 years ago. And like almost every ride, like the first like 3 rides on it were fine. And then after that, I just was blowing a spoke in like every single ride on the downhill bike. I would corner a little too hard, not even too hard. I would corner hard-ish, and it would just a spoke would blow. I'm like, ugh. I've probably put like easily like 20 spokes into that rear wheel. So I've got a new wheel set coming, which I'm pretty pumped about. And the fork and shock are getting tuned up. I'll probably bleed the brakes. The bearings in the frame actually still felt pretty smooth, so I'm surprised about that. And okay, last little piece here, wait for the clean. Oh, this dirt is pretty grimy. I think, all right, someone's sending me messages. Okay. Yeah, so E13 wheels, so the carbon wheels I've heard are really good. I have friends with the carbon wheels that worked really well. The aluminum wheels, actually all aluminum wheels, I've had problems with. Like one of the reasons I ride carbon wheels is because I just don't have to maintain them. Like I blew one spoke one time on the Enduro because I ran it into a rock, and I replaced the spoke and never did anything to it. And then same with these wheels so far. They're still like perfectly like just as tight as when I got them. The guys at Noble are really good at building wheels. I don't know how they do it, but like they're magicians. But every aluminum wheel I've had, and I've broken quite a few now. Like I was going through a few rims this like a season, and that gets expensive. Like, so let's say you find like a cheap-ish rim, like even if you can find a rim for like $100, just the rim, you're probably you might replace all the spokes, depending on how destroyed your rim is. Sometimes you can undent a rim, which I have done, but sometimes you can't. I've tried to undent some very dented rims and just didn't work. And yeah, it just have like destroyed a lot of wheels, especially riding in the park. The park is just destroys bikes a lot. And I'm a heavier guy, so that's a big part of it too. Like if you're half my weight, I think for the most part you're probably quite a bit easier on wheels. But when you're as not smooth as I am and you're heavy like me, it's really easy to destroy a rear wheel. Yeah, even the DT Swiss rims, I've broken those, the aluminum ones. So it just depends how you ride, depends where you ride, depends if you're heavy. If you're a really smooth rider, like, yeah, you probably don't wreck rims very often. So there's lots of wheels that are fine. But anyways, I'm just saying why I went with carbon wheels. I find that they're less maintenance, and they've been really good. And I enjoy that because then I don't need to replace the rims. Yeah, so I still had inserts. I had cush core in my rims. So I had cush core in my downhill bike, and I was running like 33 PSI in the rear and had downhill casings. And I did a rock roll, like a pretty big one in Whistler. And yeah, we hit a rock going really fast, which is going to be pretty hard on any bike. But yeah, I dented it through the DH casing, through the cush core. I just find that those aluminum rims are pretty soft. Maybe a little bit sturdier aluminum would have been better. But also depends, like maybe you want a softer aluminum for how you ride. That's the one thing, like a lot of reviewers say, if you watch people review like the 38 and the Zeb, you had guys who were like 150 pounds and saying, oh, there's no difference. Like they don't feel a difference in stiffness between the 36 and the 38 or the Zeb and the Lyric. And, you know, when you're 140, 150 pounds, that's probably true. Like, I don't know that you would notice the difference per se. But when you're like 200 plus, for sure, like I would say it makes a big difference. Even if you ride the same, just having that stiffness is really noticeable. So just depends who you are, how you ride, all that kind of stuff. You just got to know what you want. All right, this seems pretty clean. Oh, I got to clean the bike still too. So what length is my fork? Like travel, 170 mil. 170 feels pretty good. I think my next bike. You know what? I almost got an offering, and I think I would have ran 160 mil fork, but I maybe would have kept the 150 mil. So I would have kept it 150 mil in the front, 140 in the rear, and I almost bought that bike. I would have used an angle set in that bike though. That's a little too steep of a head angle for me, I think. I would have liked to have it be a bit steeper or a bit slacker. But yeah, like if I ever just won the lottery, I would just have so many bikes. It'd be insane. I would just have bikes. Like, just change my mind. Every day I'd be like, what do I want to ride? Ride a new bike. I almost want to keep my Enduro just because it's a pretty different feeling bike and it'd be fun to have one, but I can't afford to have that much money just to have two bikes that are almost identical. The Cascade Link. Is there a Cascade Link for the Evil Reckoning? I didn't know that. Does it make it bigger travel? Someone in the chat, tell me about this Cascade Link for the Evil Reckoning. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the reach. The reach is shorter when you do it in the extra low. 475, I think someone said there, which is also fine. I would rather, I think 45 is like the top end of what I would want. So I'm definitely okay with the reach getting a little shorter. It's why I run a short stem too. I just like it. I mean, like I said, I grew up riding BMX, so it's I've got that influence on me. I think maybe people who grew up riding cross country would want a longer bike or moto or I don't know, or just mountain bikes. What fork do I have? A 38, a Fox 38 with the Grip 2 damper. Okay, I think we're ready. We're pretty clean. And I already showed this, but if you're just tuning in, I had it in the low. And this is the chip that goes in the Reckoning. And I'm going to put it into the extra low so that this was facing up, said low, facing up. Then you flip it upside down, it goes into extra low. I just like that instead of calling it like neutral and slack, there's low and extra low. That's pretty funny. Okay, let's do this. Yeah, the Evil feels super nimble in the air. It jumps really easily. I would say that's good most of the time. Like it jumps easier most of the time. Where I would want, but you don't always want a short bike for jumping. Like when I go to the bike park and I ride A-line, or if I'm feeling like a little nuttier, say like when I rode Crabapple, those jumps are huge and they're big and long and you go really high and they're super fast. So you want to be really stable. And in those scenarios, I like having a long bike. Like I prefer the downhill bike for sure. It's super stable in the air and the travel makes it way more forgiving. So if you do kind of dip down, like your front end drops or whatever, you got a ton of travel to save you. And yeah, so most of the time it's fun to have like a nimble short little bike. Yeah, I think the Capra has a really short rear end too, depending on which bike. I think it's relatively short. The Fox Float X2. So I have a RockShox. What's it called again? Ultimate Coil or whatever. Super Deluxe Ultimate Coil. Yeah, I've got one coming. I'm gonna try one out. I got a loaner coming, so I'll do a video about that. I'm expecting that the air makes the bike feel a little poppier, a little lighter, like a little more all-round bike feeling. Although, like, it's a pretty linear air shock already, but I think like nothing beats a coil, right? Like even I kind of forgot how good the coil feels. I felt it on the Enduro today, and I think that's another one where like I think a lot of bigger guys benefit from the coil. So we're gonna find out. And then if I like the loaner coil, I'm just gonna buy one. But I'll probably buy a DHX2, unless I really like this RockShox. But I would be surprised. Oh my! So my 2S, the downhill bike, is an extra large. Not Capra. YT still has like pretty old school sizing. They haven't updated their frames in a while. So XL YT kind of rides like a large bike from another brand. Okay, let's see here. Okay, I might need to pump up the shock a bit here, or get this lined up somehow. Can you stay there? What if I just go like this? Or do I want to go the other way? Nice, there we go. Yes, I want to go this way. There we go. There we go. And how do I get you in here? Okay. And then there's probably a way easier way to do this, but here we are. Cool. Oh, I think I got it. Did I get it? I think so. Oh, no. That's so close. How do you... Come on. I have to let more air to my shock. Okay. I need like the last little link to fit in here. I actually think I might need to pump up the shock. Okay, I think I gotta pump the shock back up for it to go back in. Hold on. All right. Yeah. Let's see here. Gotta pump up the shock. Yeah. Apparently, we've got 2 live streams going, which is weird. Why didn't I just buy another frame like you mean when the Enduro was cracked? Like, why not just buy just a frame? I mean, I guess I could have, but I usually like to just swap out complete bikes. Like, just nice to get a whole new, fresh everything. And here we go, pumping away. Yes, the TRP brakes. I love my TRP brakes. Probably the most underrated brake. They're quite good. The only thing they don't have is like it's like the pad adjuster. You know, like the XTRs have them. I think the XTs might have them. Although everyone says they don't work on the Shimano's, like there's a little dial to like move the pads in and out, and everyone I've asked says like they can't get it to work, and you'll see that on reviews too. The codes also have the pad adjust, but like anything other than like totally wound in, like the tightest setting was just awful. So like I never used it, and I actually wish it was like it worked a little better. So I've never actually used the little pad adjust. The brakes feel, the brakes kind of feel like in between Shimano and SRAM. They oh, come on. Oh, did I get it? I think I got it. It's in. The TRP brakes feel like, as far as modulation, these brakes have way more modulation than like an XTR, but less modulation than the codes. I just found the codes, again, like probably just because I'm a bigger guy, like you had to pull them so hard and like to actually get the brakes to really engage that I didn't like that. And that's why I went with these TRP brakes, because they have a nice light lever feel, which I really like. Which is why I'm probably going to go with at least this style of brake in the future. But okay, it's coming together. Although, like, I can't really ride my bike. I'm hoping to ride a week from now. It's close. That'll be 3.5 weeks since I broke my toe. And that'll be hopefully okay. I could almost ride now. Like maybe if I took a bunch of painkillers, I could ride. But yeah, that just seems like a bad idea. Like if it hurts, that's probably a sign that you shouldn't ride. So I'm hoping to ride next Saturday. But we will see. We will see. I think. Okay, so I don't know if anyone told me, so I need to torque these down. What is 65 inch-pounds in Newton meters? Someone in the chat. Someone Google that. Oh, yeah. So I always forget. So with the new 38, you don't need to cycle the fork as you're pumping it up to like equalize the chambers or whatever. But in this X2, you very much need to do that. Last time I pumped up this shock without like cycling it, and it just feels like this really super hard to bounce pogo stick. Eventually it evens out and you got to pump it up again, but before I just pump it up all the way, let's put the other side of my link in and we'll be done. All right, chat, what's up? 7.34 Newton meters, 7.5, close enough. 65 inch-pounds, that sounds right, 7.5 Newton meters. There we go. Come on. All right. I'm almost done. How did I deal with the progressive linkage on the camera? I would just lock out the shock. I had a RockShox Super Deluxe Air can or whatever, and the climb switch works. It pretty much locks it. So that was about it. That was about it. Yeah, I mean, you can rewatch the live. I think it goes onto the channel after this. Oh yeah. All right. I think we're pretty much. I just need to torque her down. So I've got this really awful. That's not awful. It's a pretty good little torque wrench, but they come free with YTs. But yeah, I need to get myself a proper torque wrench, but this is better than nothing. Probably better than nothing. But I'm going to buy one of those Park Tool torque wrenches. They're hard to find. But I guess I could buy one off Amazon, but shops weren't able to get them. Anyways. That feels, is that sticking out a little? Uh, 5 mil, 65 inch-pounds. Okay, so 7.5 Newton meters. That's good. And good. So after I got my first ride, definitely going to check all these bolts because something's probably going to come loose. And 7. And 7. Nice. Nice. We're coming along. This is it. The last bolt. It's actually pretty easy to do this. Easier than I thought. But I think we're just about there. Last bolt. Last one. There's this. Okay, that's it. We're in the slack. We're in slack mode. We're done, more or less. It is slack now. All right. Anyone have any questions about the Wreckoning? I actually said I would do a live stream about the Wreckoning in my bike check video, but oh, yeah. Okay, come on. Let's just flip this around so you can see it. Oh yeah, look at that. The old rig. Got that buzz. Dialed. I still have, so I think when I do get the coil, yeah, I'll put the coil on. Hopefully I'll have that pretty soon. And then, I think that's the last thing. I'm gonna put a new rear tire on. I also have to put this thing in. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. It's probably been a while. This is the last one I could find on the internet. It's got a big hole in the middle. And so I've got to put this in. Maybe I'll do a live stream while I do that too. It just requires me undoing my front brake hose, and I don't want to do that right now. That just sounds like I'm going to have more problems. All right, I asked the chat a question, and then I just didn't acknowledge it. Questions about the Wreckoning. Oh yeah, so RockShox. I got a RockShox coil coming. The Super Deluxe that comes on the Wreckoning. I've got a 185 mil dropper. It's supposed to come with a 1-up dropper, but I think they ran out, and so I got this bike yoke dropper, 185 mil. It's the biggest one I can run. So I have my front brake through my steer tube, and that's what this thing is going to be for. Yeah, that one's a super secret for the video. That's going to be a fun one. I think someone asked me about my hubs, which is the Hydras. I have the i9 Hydras. And someone else asked me something else that I thought was interesting. Oh, how much does my bike weigh? So my bike with the water bottle on, an empty water bottle, and the cush core and like pedal, like actual weight, none of this no pedal like nonsense and stuff like that. It's 36 pounds, which is pretty good, I think. I think a lot of people, like when they're telling you, people are weird about bike weights. They'll tell you like, oh yeah, my bike weighs 33 pounds or whatever. And it's like, yeah, like without pedals or your mud guard or your grips or brakes, you know, like it's like, oh yeah, it's 33 pounds with all this stuff that I'm going to put on it when I actually go ride. So it's like, come on. This is 36 pounds real weight. I do notice different suspension kinematics. Yeah. Well, sort of. Depends. I'd say the biggest differences, like the biggest like frame kinematics that I'd noticed was on when I rode the Druid. It feels kind of weird, like in a good way. The high pivot. The high pivot is a big one. And then we got Joe from Trail Features up in the chat telling us about how light his bike is. Oh no. Oh, that's fine. I just dropped my little star net. But do I sell Story? I don't know what that means. I like Shimano better, so I have a Shimano drivetrain, and I would ride Shimano brakes over like codes and stuff like that. I prefer, like, a lot of people don't like that bite, and they feel that it doesn't have enough modulation. And I understand that, especially when you're not used to them. But when you do get used to them, I much prefer that. I prefer the bite. Robus, where are you from? I don't know. Where are you from? And okay, what else we got here? Oh, people are asking, so is the Druid the linkage fork equivalent to rear suspension? I don't know. You got to ask a real mechanical engineer that question. I don't know. Yeah, actually, like, I don't think that 12 speeds is really necessary. Like, I don't think more speeds is the answer. I think boxes 1x9 makes a lot of sense. Like, I rarely even use, like, I don't even get, a lot of people run like really, they'll run like a 36 tooth chain ring. But like, I already don't use my like 10th, 11th, 12th gear. Those gears are for like pedaling downhill at the bike park. They have like rarely been used. Most of the time, I would say I would use like 1, 2, 3, your easiest gears. You're like pedaling up the hill and stuff like that, especially here where it's like long climbs up and then you just ride down. Then I'll shift down into like the hardest gear that I really use on the faster trails here think is like my 8th gear. So I still have 9, 10, 11, 12 of harder gears that just like I never use them. I don't know anyone who uses them. So I think we could probably run like a smaller chainring in the front and then not have such big, like I don't think a 52 tooth first gear is necessary. We could probably go back to running like 45 tooth, like a light, like the 11 speeds. I think that's what Eric from BCPOV, part of the reason he said he still runs, I think it's an 11 speed or it's a 12 speed with not Eagle. He doesn't have that like huge ring or that huge, cassette in the rear. I don't think they're necessary. Some people saying that they always use their hardest gear on the trail. I mean, power to you. But yeah, I've never been in the 12th gear, except like even when we raced in Whistler. I think in the EWS, I might have used my 12th gear once, like pedaling across, like slightly downhill and across. I like the idea of the box 1x9 though. I think that sounds interesting. Yeah, like a 10 to 45 would be, I think, totally fine. Like put a 30 or put like, I don't know what the obsession is with making things bigger. Like as far as the drivetrain is concerned, I think things being smaller would be better. I don't actually know, but maybe there's some engineering reason, like for kinematics, that a bigger, like having a bigger rear cassette would be better. But in BMX, like if you remember those old BMXs, they had huge chain rings. And then they figured out that like, oh, a 25-9 gear ratio, like a small one, the smallest possible little gear you can put in the back was the best. Because it was just small. Like there was no reason to run like a huge chain ring in the front and then a huge ring in the back. The EWS is not on this year. I'll probably, if there are races, I'll go to them, especially if my friends want to go. I'd be down. I won't do well, but that's half the fun. See who can come in the worst place. In Ontario, I'm from Kenora. It's northwest Ontario. So like when people think Ontario, they think like Toronto. Kenora is as far from Toronto as it is from Vancouver. It's super far. So people ask me like, oh, you know someone from Hamilton? And it's like, that's still like 1,800 kilometers away from Kenora. It's closer to Winnipeg. Okay. I think that's it. I got to go grocery shopping. My bike's in the extra low. I'm going to do a video probably about, I'm going to do a video about the extra low and probably a coil at the same time. And then I have another video to do answering what a lot of people ask about why I've got my front brake through the steer tube. Got to fix that too. So maybe a live stream before that one, and I'll do a video about that. And then hopefully my toe is healed and I can go biking again. So, yeah. And that's that. All right. Thanks for everyone coming to the live stream. And hopefully, I don't know, I'll try and do more of these. I haven't done a live stream in like a year or more. I never do live streams. And I only did this because Paul did one, and then I figured I should do one because I just don't do them. They're kind of fun. It's fun to like do things live. So, all right. See you guys. See you in the next stream.